All right. So before we begin, I want to remind everybody attending this evening's meeting in person that the meeting is being recorded and that this room is equipped with microphones throughout that will pick up any talking. So please refrain from having sidebar discussions that you would not wish for the microphones to pick up. With that being said, I call the meeting August 19th, 2024 to order at 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, tonight we have Pastor David Barnes from New Self Ministries.
And bow your heads with me. Dear Father, we come before you tonight. Maybe first of all, just take deep breath and may this be just a wonderful meeting tonight. We lift it up to you. May everything be done according to your will. Father, as schools in the area are coming back into session, we pray for the administrators. We pray for the teachers. Pray for all the kids. May this be a fruitful year for them. Also lift up the small businesses in our community to you. Father, would you bless them, protect them, may they flourish. And then I lift up all of these people here today, all these members that serve you faithfully. May their humility shine through. May they do everything to bless our community and protect those citizens that live in it. So God, thank you in advance. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Barnes. All right. So we will move on to roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Potato,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Brown,
He is online.
thank you. Clairget,
Here.
Cole. Here. Alfers,
Here.
Ranky.
Here.
All present. Clerk, please read the consent agenda.
Item number 1, First Amendment to the Greenwater North LLC 6 Kilns Apartment LLC Settlement Agreement. Item number 2, Resolution 1695, Council's Rules of Procedure. Item number 3, Condrituck Property Acquisition Purchase and Sale Agreement Approval. Item number 4, Sumner Texaco Heritage Park Remediation, Department of Ecology Voluntary Cleanup Program Agreement. Item 5, Services Agreement for Senior Center Management with Stafford Suites. Item 6, Resolution number 1696, City Hall Solar Panel Grant Acceptance. Item number 7, Stewart Road Pond Repair Construction Contract Award. Item 8, Approval of the minutes from the August 5th, 2024 regular council meeting and the August 12th, 2024 study session. Item 9, Approval of checks and electronic payments in the amount of $2,375,808.01.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Cole, would you make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yes, I move to adopt the consent agenda of August 19th, 2024.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Clairget. Okay. All in favor?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Point of order.
Okay.
I'd like to remove item number 2.
Oh, okay. Item number 2, so we will pull item 2 off the agenda. Do I have a, you made a motion for that. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
No? Okay. All in favor to pull off number 2?
Mayor, you'll just vote on the consent agenda except for number 2, and we'll address it separately after the vote.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Do we have a motion to vote for the consent agenda without item 2?
You have your motion and your second, so you can call for the vote on the consent agenda.
Michelle, would you please call for the vote?
Bowman,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Alfers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Clarigate,
Yes.
Ranky.
Yes.
All right, unanimous. Now I will call on Andrea Marquez. Help.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here tonight to speak to item number 2 that was pulled. This is Resolution 1695, which updates the City Council Rules of Procedure. So in addition to some minor grammatical revisions and some organizational adjustments to the rules, the following revisions were discussed and requested by council during a study session on July 22nd. 1, requiring speakers, no matter if they're in person, virtual, or written, to include their full name and address. 2, prohibiting the seating or sharing of any person's 3 minutes. 3, requiring comments to be germane or relevant to city business or pertaining to matters over which the city council has jurisdiction. And 4, rules included and related to service animals. No other substantive changes were made to the rules or to the procedures that already apply to council meetings today. The feedback was received on July 22nd during the study session and was incorporated by staff into the red line document that's in the packet with today's meeting agenda. That red line document was circulated to the city council via email on Friday, July 26th. And I invited any other revisions or feedback from the council. And I also stated that if there was additional discussion requested, we could schedule it for a future study session. I didn't receive any requested revisions, but I did hear back from several council members that the edits had already met their expectations and that no additional discussion was requested. So it was included in the packet for the consent agenda tonight. And I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions? Any questions from Councilmember Brown? All right, seeing none. Can I
The public
just
can
do,
speak to this item.
okay, do we have any comments from the public? Come on up, give your name and address and state your opinion.
Randall Adams, 15013 63rd Street, Cordes. One of the clarifications I wanted up front was that in this new resolution was that we sign in with our whole address. And it appears in the wording that we no longer then have to state our name and address when we come up here and waste time doing so. That it is there right in front of you. Only people who are coming virtually have to do that. Maybe we should get clarification on that specific item. Also, the whole intent of this resolution was to stop the horrific Zoom bombers that and their vile language. Yet we hear nothing about our attempt to address those items in this resolution, or what was done, or the language that's in it, how it's going to stop those things. I think that's something that you need further discussion and clarification on to ensure that that's what you're doing and that you're actually accomplishing the intent of what 1695 as it was represented would be. Now, I must admit, I was surprised that when CA Wilson said that we plan on taking your feedback tonight, getting a red line version, bringing it back to you for review before you consider. I didn't realize, silly me, that meant that you're going to do it without it being in public and going back and forth and clarifying that and actually having the city attorney explain things to you so that you know what is in this and that if it's meeting the needs that you're wanting it to do. But no, it's not. It's just, let's just go through it. I think it's really an attempt to get ahead of the freight train that you're going to have coming at you when your comp plan plan comes out and people start knowing what you're doing, you're not gonna have to listen to Randall Adams anymore because you're gonna get overwhelmed by citizens of Sumner. Stop trying to stop you from doing what you're doing and destroying this city for outside interests, not for what we want, not for what I don't think any of you want. I don't think you want to triple the size of this city in a decade. I truly don't. Because of the financial strain that that's going to put on you. There are other things that you guys should be spending your time regarding, I believe. One is trying to actually come up with, how are we going to protect senior citizens from the high rate increases that we have in our utility bill? That was brought up when those were raised, and it was told, well, someone's going to have to pay for it. Well, we are already paying for these apartments that are coming in. That's spread out through all of the citizens. So why are we not doing that for our senior citizens on water rates? The city isn't addressing those things. So there's more, but I sent that to you in an email. So thank you for your time.
Okay. Right. Andrea, did you want to?
I'm just here to answer questions if there are any.
Mayor, we have someone online.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Bierman, go ahead.
Nick Bierman, 5802 Parker Road East. I just also wanted to address this item. I was surprised to see this particular resolution that would modify some of how the public interacts with the city council. I was surprised to see it on the consent agenda and that the public wouldn't have input at all in a formal setting on on changes to how they interact with the city council. So I would like to see the room for some public discourse on this before it gets approved with a sweeping motion like on a consent agenda. So that was my main comment here was just if we're going to modify the way that city council and members of the citizens of this community interact, that we also hear from the citizens of the community and how these changes are going to be implemented. So thanks for your time.
Okay, Andrea. So in my understanding, it's study sessions that the public can't. That's our turn to talk about it, right? Is this what they're talking about?
There was no change to public comment at study sessions.
Right.
Historically, the city has never accepted public comment at a study session, and these rules don't change that.
Right.
The changes predominantly were about whether or not you can share your 3 minutes and
Right.
requiring people to have their camera on and identify themselves
Right.
so that we have accurate meeting minutes
That's
and a
what I thought.
record.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
And none of these changes are inconsistent with other jurisdictions' rules of procedure. And this is the council's meeting, so you dictate your rules.
Okay. All right, you guys ready to vote for this? Did we already make a motion on this?
No, you'll need to get a
I'd-
motion, a second, and then take a voice
I'd like
vote.
to make a motion to adopt Resolution 1695 Council Rules of Procedure.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Botetto. Michelle, did you want to do a roll call on this one?
We can do that. Councilmember Alford made the motion.
Correct.
Thank you. Cole,
Yes.
Clairgett,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Alfers,
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. That was funny. Okay, so we have no public hearing tonight. Unfinished business. We have no unfinished business. And public comment. Michelle, would you please read the rules for public comment?
This is the time for you to address the mayor and the council as a whole regarding items that are not on the agenda. When the mayor calls your name, please approach the podium. If you're participating via Zoom, use the raise your hand or telephonically press *9. Before you begin your remarks, please state your name and address or city in which you reside for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. And as a reminder, the public comment is a time for the council to hear you and not a time to engage in back and forth. If you raise specific questions, the mayor may direct you to the appropriate staff member for further discussion.
All right, so this is for anything not on the agenda, and I have one signed up, Randall Adams.
So can we have clarification if I have to state my name and address before I speak? Based on your new.
Yes.
You knew. It states in there, I do not. Please clarify. It states only people on the internet have to do, so I write it on, and I gave you my name and address that I don't have to.
But it goes on the recording when you say it, so when you write it, it
Well,
doesn't go on the recording.
evidently, it says I don't have to. That when you call my name, evidently that's been shifted over to you, Madam Mayor.
Andrea,
Mr. Adams, if you wish to begin your comments, please do so.
At any time without having to say my name.
If you signed in with your full name and address,
That's
that's
what
what
I
we
was just
needed.
trying to clarify. Thank you kindly, Andrea. I would ask that further conversations be made or have be done regarding how we stop boomers or whatever those yahoos are that come in and speak vile comments to us during city meetings that disrupt our ability to get work done. I don't know that what you've just done actually accomplishes that. And that was the intent, that whole anti-Randall Adams thing was done. So I suggest that we still need to address that if it hasn't been done, or maybe have Andrea clarify how she did have it in that resolution, how it does address it or not. It states that there's no public comment on study sessions. Yet last week you had 12 entities in here having public comments, actually asking for money from you. Are those allowed based on the way that you've now changed your own rules and regulations? Or should you just leave it so that it's at the discretion of the mayor and the deputy mayor to allow those things when in fact it is a good idea for the city business, as it was last week? Otherwise, you're not supposed to be having conversations from the public in study sessions. At least that's how I read it. Again, Andrea can clarify those things for you. During your July 22nd study session, staff passively aggressively reminded anyone who stated their name during a meeting would be included in the record. A not so veiled threat that there may be repercussions if in fact we participate. That same thought goes for all of us in the meeting, including council members, for allowing the city to not to comply with the decision by the judge and continuing to toll Resolution 1663 instead of avoiding it. If it comes to a decision later, that is when you vote to make a decision on that. Then you're the ones that should be voting on that, not somebody previous to you. The judge stopped that. So let's stand up and do those things. One thing that happened, too long ago, but it was a suggestion by the city that when someone up here suggests bless your heart, that's meaning we're saying you're stupid. There's nothing that could be further from the truth, because I'm probably the one that said it, because I do come from the South. First 14 years I lived in San Antonio, where people honor and cherish our history. When I say bless your heart, it is because I believe every one of you have a good heart or you wouldn't be here. And that there's an inferred first word in that statement, that's God bless your heart. And we all know that from God has whom all blessings flow. Not that you're stupid.
Anybody else have anything to say? All right, seeing none, we will move on. Number 3, ordinance number 2894, amending Sumner Municipal Code 5.08 utilities. Councilmember Potato, would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2894, amending Sumner Municipal Code 5.08 utilities.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Elfers. All right, I call on Administrative Services Director Jeff Stephens.
Pivot so I can see the monitor up there. Good evening, Jeff Stephens, Administrative Services Director. I'm here this evening to talk about ordinance 2894. Slides, maybe. Someone can help me on the slide. Okay, there we go. So sorry about that. So as mentioned, this ordinance amends the Sumner Municipal Code regarding utility taxes. Currently, the city of Sumner has a 6% utility tax on telephone businesses. So that would be landlines, cell phones, and pagers, not anything that's over the internet. Gas utility and electric utilities that operate in the city. We establish the tax rate. Those are billed by the service providers, collected by the service providers, and remitted back to the city. Our code is a little unique in that we include an abatement provision where any charge above $1,500 a month is exempt from the tax. So if you have a gas bill that's $1,500, you pay 6% of that. If it's $1,501, that extra dollar is not subject to the utility tax. And this ordinance, go to the next slide, thank you. This ordinance looks to remove that abatement. So I went back and I looked, the abatement was initially established back in 1988. At that point in time, it was set at $750. It was then updated by council in 2008, which made it to the current level of $1,500 a month. And let me be clear that that's individual utilities. So it's not a combined gas and electric bill. It's gas, electric, separate. In looking around at local jurisdictions, neighboring jurisdictions, this abatement provision that we have in our code is very unique. Looking at Puyallup, Fife, Bonnie Lake, no one else has a similar type of rule. We looked back, we also don't really know why this was started. We know that it's 36 years old. Could have possibly been done for some economic development purposes back in the 80s, could have been done to appease a large ratepayer in town. Unsure of the exact history of why it began. Part of the problem with this current law is it doesn't incentivize conservation. Those that have higher gas and electric bills don't pay tax on those higher charges. This proposed ordinance would have no impact on customers that have a bill that's less than $1,500. So I don't know that there's going to be a residence in town that has a $1,500 a month phone bill or $1,500 a month gas bill or $1,500 electric bill. So really what we're thinking is we're talking larger users of these services right now are not paying a tax on the full thing, and they would be, which is kind of what I said, it's leveling the playing field. The 6% would be applied universally. If passed, this ordinance would take effect October 1st. That is to allow us to work with these outside vendors to make sure that they've updated their software and notified their customers of a change in the tax. We have reached out to Puget Sound Energy, as you know, that they're the providers of gas and electric in town. We let them know that this is proposed, it's coming, and we asked them for some information. We tried to find out how many customers this would impact, how much additional revenue it would bring to the city, and which customers it would impact. They said that they can't give us any specifics on an individual account. They're working to total up how many accounts it would affect, how much additional revenue it would bring into the city. But at this point in time, they don't have those figures yet. Their accounting and tax department is working on it. On the telephone side, I looked, and in 2023, we had 702 transactions of receiving telephone texts. As you can imagine, there's lots of telephone service providers that are, cell phones that are operating in this town. So we get lots and lots of little small telephone tax payments into the city. There's likely little impact to this change on the telephone side. There's probably not a lot of people out there with $1,500 plus telephone bills, but we would need to kind of reach out and contact roughly 50 to 100 telephone service providers, letting them know of this change should this ordinance pass. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions from the council?
Thank you.
No. Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious, is it, Jeff, thanks for your presentation, by the way. And I did ask you earlier about PSC, so I'm really wanting to see a little bit more data. I feel like I've been told it could be a few dollars to a few thousand, couple customers to maybe 100. I don't know. I just don't know what the range is. So I'd love to see that information, but is it normal to notice like a ratepayer, like when you're changing tax stuff like that, to like send a notice out to the people that are impacted and say, hey, your bill's going to change?
I mean, we, as the city typically would, if we were changing utility rates, for instance, we would put a notice in someone's bill, is typically how we would do it. And I would assume a PSC would do the same. We would work with them on how to communicate this to their customers. But like I said, at this point in time, they're aware, they know that this is potentially coming, and they said, we appreciate the heads up, was basically how they left it. But they didn't say, we need X number of days, time, we need the city to help with noticing. I mean, we would happily work with them on it, but there was no requirements that they go forth to us.
Okay, when we normally do like a rate increase, I think we do it once a year, we review it, or maybe once every couple of years. We just did one, I think, last year, but what's the normal notice period? Do you know?
I don't know that there is a standard notice period.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Carla?
Thank you, Jeff. So with this being said, am I correct in my kind of understanding that basically since 1988, give or take, there's been a tax avoidance? Nobody's had to pay on from $1,501 up.
Yeah, in 1988, it was from $750 up. From 2008, it was $1,500 and above has been untaxed.
So, all right, then who do we think has been paying that tax? I don't know that you have the answer, but I'm kind of wondering, it's just, I guess for me, what's hard is I don't know why we did it, right? I know it's not going to impact me. If I had a $1,500 electric bill, I'd be moving or I'd be doing something. My natural gas, I'd be having that thing checked. So Andy and I talked earlier today, big business, they're going to feel it. Big business is going to feel it. But the cities around us, they don't have this abatement.
Correct.
So it's not like people are going to run. Amazon's not going to pick up their warehouse and move to Puyallup. I mean, and do you think people are coming here to open a business because this exists? Because I mean, I don't think anybody even knows it exists.
I would tend to agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah, and Councilman Brow, first to answer your question earlier, I don't really have any reference to how big a gas or electric bill is for various businesses throughout the city. My frame of reference, as Councilmember Bowman said, is my own utility bill, which is significantly less than $1,500 a month. And I don't believe that PSC would ever give us that individual customer account. These 15 businesses, here's the list of them that are now going to be paying this tax that weren't paying it before because they're large energy consumers. The best thing we would get is a number of the additional revenue we would get and maybe the number of accounts. I know as far as the city's concerned, our wastewater treatment plant is a pretty heavy utility user. We probably would pick up a little bit of extra tax on that because I do believe some months we have some rather large bills. But we had talked, if your bill was $2,500 a month, it would be an extra $60 because it would be 6% on that extra $1,000 that was currently untaxed. Is kind of how that would work out, just to give you some reference points using big, large, easy for me to do math in my head numbers.
So to Councilman Elper's point, similar to what we did, and I apologize, I can't remember exactly what it was, but Michael Kosa came and he did a presentation and there was, option 1, option 2, option 3. And it's just, it's kind of a hard fixed cost in some essence. So on this, if you're gonna have lights, you're gonna have electricity unless you find an ulterior method. So could we or would we put an announcement out like we have on other changes so that, you know, as of this date, the abatement is no longer here and you will be paying, you know, tax on your full bill?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if people even know they've been getting this. Again, I'm gonna say that, I don't know,
We
so.
can certainly work to advertise it, you know, again, partnering with the energy companies is probably the best way to do that because, you know, they have that direct interaction with those customers that are paying those bills.
Right. Okay, thanks.
And the, you know, the effective date of 10/1 gives us an opportunity, should this ordinance pass tonight, to, you know, have a little bit of time to make those announcements, over a month.
Well, I would just finish by saying that I would be, just out of curiosity, you know, you always think Amazon because, you know, the lights are on and they're there 24/7 and they're shipping stuff out. I would be curious if they even look at their power bill. But, you know, I mean, you managed, well, somebody in here managed gas contracts for a long time with Boeing. So, I mean, other than, you know, that manager looking at it, I'm thinking that, you know, kind of goes up and down. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Any other council questions or comments? Barbara, go ahead.
Do you have any idea how much tax is collected from the utilities?
I do, and I was prepared because I thought I might get that question. Yeah, so what I have is I have kind of an annual budget figure. Roughly, on the electric side, the city collects $1.4 million in utility tax. Gas is 400,000 and telephone is far behind at about $175,000 a year.
So it is significant now, but this would increase the potential. So good.
Right. Mr. Ranky, do you have any questions? No?
You're good, thank you.
And I don't, Mr. Brown, do you have any comments up there? Do you? Nope. All right. Go ahead, Andy.
I don't know if I get any traction on this, but I would like to make a motion to postpone until we have the information, just a general idea of how many customers, so we get some information back from PSE, even if it's really simple stuff.
Okay, you would need a second for that. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
And I want to clarify, a motion to postpone to a date certain is probably what you want. So are you looking to the next regular council meeting? A motion to postpone without a date set kills the item.
Can we do a motion to postpone at the next regular council meeting after we receive from information? Because PSE gave us, I think, a general, like, in the next 30 days kind of timeline. I don't think they gave us a date. Can we do the next regular council meeting after we hear back from PSE?
We need to set a date tonight, but there's nothing that prevents us from bumping it again. So for purposes of being conservative, should probably look at.
October 14th would probably work for me. I'm sorry, September 14th. I'm sorry, September 14th, which is.
16th,
Saturday.
Is that the wrong date?
Yeah, because that was our.
September 16th.
16th, I'm sorry.
Okay,
September
so
16th.
motion to postpone to September 16th.
Yes, that would work.
Perfect.
And we still call roll for that, right?
And you need a second?
We
Bowman
have
was
to-
that one?
yeah. All right. Michelle, would you call the roll?
Elfers,
Yes.
Rinky,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Farragut,
Yes.
Potato,
No.
Brown.
Yes.
Passes 6-1. All right. Okay. That's done. Moving on to reports. Mr. Ranky, do you have a report tonight?
Nothing to report tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Botetto?
On Thursday, I helped with passing out backpacks with the Sumner Bonnie Lake Family Center. I think they gave out over 500, and they'll have another distribution tomorrow at Liberty Ridge. And then at Thursday, at the family center, they'll have another one from 3 to 5 p.m. Everybody in the community is encouraged to get the school supplies for their kids.
Councilmember Cole,
No report, thank you.
Councilmember Elfers.
Yeah, a couple things. So I think, first of all, I think on the resolution tonight, 1695, thank you for the comments from the public. I appreciate that. I think we don't always like negative feedback, but we do like the feedback. So thank you very much for sharing. I think, and then secondly, I went to the Chalk Art Festival, must have been about a week and a half ago. It was really well attended, really nice, good music, fun time. So I just wanted to hope everyone is able to, who can in town, to go to those events. They're really done well. So thank you for those who are there. And then last week, I wanted to just comment on I was really pleased with the number of nonprofits that came out. We have a lot of neat organizations that really wanted to do a lot of nice things in the community. So we're gonna have some tough decisions to make on that, but I appreciate all the folks that put in applications in for that. And that's all I got. Thanks.
Councilmember Bowman.
I too stopped at the Chalk Art and the music. It was very nice. A ton of people that went to that and thoroughly enjoyed it. Same thing with the Sip and Stroll on the stormy weather day a few days ago, but people had a great time. So I think that was great. I too appreciated and value the conversation today around some of our resolutions. I think that what it makes me feel like is clarity in the message is important. So I'll keep that in mind as we move forward, just making sure there's clarity in a message, because maybe it's not clear. I don't know, but I agreed with the email that came to us, so I valued that. But the town's doing good. There's a lot of people coming through here. I'm watching people shop and enjoy all the things that we provide. So I think things are going well.
Thank you. Councilmember Clerget.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Alrighty. City Administrator.
Good evening, Andrea Marquez, City Attorney, but I will channel my best Jason Wilson tonight. Upcoming meetings on August 26th, there's a study session. It's actually starting at 5 p.m. We will meet here at City Hall, and it is a park tour. So we have cars reserved, and the packet will inform the public about the order in which each park will be visited, and we'll be providing more materials in the packet related to that. There was a ribbon cutting event at Rainier View Park that was scheduled for that same day and time. That event has been postponed. We expect it to be sometime maybe end of September, but more information is forthcoming, and we'll update you. On Tuesday, September 3rd, remember that Labor Day is a Monday, so our meeting is on Tuesday. We will have both a regular council meeting and a special study session. So during the regular council meeting, we will discuss an interlocal agreement between the city and the county sheriff's department for specialized services. There will be a presentation reviewing the community survey results and an ordinance approving the occupancy tax committee allocations. And then during the special study session immediately after the meeting, there will be a presentation on the Public Works Operations Facility financing and the Community Partner Fund discussion based on the presentations that you heard at the last study session. On the personnel front, the city is actively recruiting for a city planner and continues to recruit for open police officer positions. And I've just got a few additional miscellaneous comments. This Friday, August 23rd, is a Sumner Night Market from 5 to 8 at Heritage Park. Related to the Heritage Park plaques, at last week's Finance Committee meeting, those plaques were surplused, and the committee directed staff to fairly distribute them. So staff have planned an event on September 9th from 8 to 10 a.m. and again from 5 to 6 p.m. right here in the City Council chambers for those who wish to pick up a plaque. One plaque per person, and it will be a first come, first serve. And additional details will be distributed in the coming weeks in the e-news and on social media outlets. The Sumner Bonnie Lake School District Convocation is next Monday, August 26th at 8 a.m. It's at Sunset Stadium, and if you would like to attend, please let Michelle know so that she can RSVP for the council and notice a quorum if one will be present. And last but certainly not least, This afternoon, Councilmember Brown notified his fellow council members and city leadership that he will be vacating his council seat at the end of August. I want to express our sincere gratitude to him for his decades of leadership and policy making and friendship. And for the public, details about the filling of the vacancy will be forthcoming. So thank you, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, dog days of summer. If these are the dog days, then it's perfect time to think about adopting a dog or a cat from our own Metro Animal Shelter. We have lots of pets who need good homes here in Sumner. You can visit www.metroanimalservices.org to take a look. Also, we are having a back to school drive. We're still collecting crayons, Kleenex for school kids to help out at the school district. They say that these are the items most needed. Drop a box or two down in the lobby by the police department. With that being said, I will miss Mr. Brown. We've been together for a long time on council. We didn't always think the same, but we had a good time fighting about it afterwards. So Councilmember Brown, thank you for everything you've done for the city of Sumner. And I will adjourn this meeting at 6:41.